Here's what happened. Today on my Instagram feed, a video popped up, and it was Tony Robbins who shared this idea that connects to today's episode. What he talked about was how when we have these big moments of celebration, or not celebration, I mean, that's a result, but we have these big, amazing things that happen in our lives. And then we want to celebrate and get excited about that. What can happen though is we can tone down all that excitement and celebration because we don't want other people around us to feel bad. And I'm sure you think of someone can come up to mind when you think about that. And how he puts it then is the brain is trained to think that there's only you're supposed to only be happy to a certain point, or you shouldn't be too happy. And that can go then into the rest of the body. That can be something that can get stuck there and can stick with us for the rest of our lives. It's something I don't want for you. So I want to get into it today. This is Make Burnout Extinct podcast. I'm Robert David Weeks. The simple activity to get unstuck and win your day. I want you to get unstuck. Okay, that's the problem we're addressing today is stuck. I want to get into how stuck can connect to burnout. That feeling of like, look, I'm just stuck. It's like quicksand, can't get out. We're going to address it. And I then want to get into this specific activity, which I'm going to tell it to you right now. And that is celebrating the effort. I've talked about this play before, and I want you to stick with me here because I know you get this intellectually, right? But do you get it for the whole entire body here? And is it something that you're actually doing? Like, that's my question for you. Are you actually doing this? Have you tried it? Because I know it sounds so simple. Celebrate the effort. Okay, cool. Maybe not. I'll do this. What I'll tell you is at first, it's awkward to do this. If you're like me, where in the past it was like mainly you're not supposed to celebrate, or it's kind of like weird, or oh my gosh, like this person's too much right now. Like if you've had that type of chatter going on in your mind, I want to tell you it's going to be awkward for you at first to celebrate. It's going to be weird. It's going to be kind of like, are other people looking at me and judging me moment. But then if you do it consistently over a few days and even like a week or 2 weeks, you'll then notice an impact that could happen for you. And it's worth a try. Like that's how I always put it for these plays, for these burnout proof playbooks. It is for each person individually, but I will say when it comes to celebrating the effort, this is a foundational play in my burnout proof playbook. It is something I have realized. I can't think of a day. I can't. Like I'm trying to think back to all the days. I can't think of a day where I haven't celebrated some sort of effort. And again, these are small. It could be small, it could be big. But what it does is it helps for me to move and stay at home with the making burnout extinct. Like making that my home, because it is a spectrum where on one end we have burnout is extinct, and on this other end, we've hit burnout. And every day we get to decide where we're at on the spectrum of which one we're leaning more towards. I want to help you to make burnout extinct your home, to make that where you're spending most of your life is in that area, while still moving towards what it is you want in life. Who do you want to become? And the epic, I know this, that epic vision, the goals that you have, you want to make that big impact, and helping you to also continue on that journey. It doesn't mean you have to give up your dreams to make burnout extinct. So that's really important too, to just realize that you can also put in a lot of hard work and energy and time into things while still making burnout extinct. So I want to get into the stuck feeling. There's a few reasons why you could be stuck that could be coming up. One could be because you don't believe you can actually do it. So you don't even get started, right? It's that thought of, I think one actually just popped up in my mind would be, there's no way I could surf a wave in Hawaii. Like I think of the surfing competitions in Hawaii, and they have these massive waves. I'm thinking the word is like a pipeline. I think that's it for the wave of how it's barreling. I can't even imagine. I'm not going to even do it. I'm not even going to do it. But this is the thing. If you're curious about wanting to learn and wanting to do it, and then you still stay stuck, I mean, that's the problem. For me, I don't have a desire right now to go surfing, but that's one that can come up where I'm like, I don't even want to do it. So I'm choosing not to. But if I had a desire to try it and I still felt I couldn't do it, that's a moment where it's like, we gotta take action here. Another one that could come up for you is you don't want to be embarrassed. No one likes to be embarrassed. It's where you're starting a new skill or a new habit. I'm trying to think of one for me that comes up right now, of one that's been embarrassing. I would say it's speaking. It's podcasting. It is videos on social media that I do. It was speaking on stage for the first time. I had this moment where I didn't want to be embarrassed. I think back to middle school, where you raise your hand, you get the answer wrong. And I remember this I'm trying to think of actually a specific example. I'm trying to think. It does not come up right now. But you know that feeling where you get embarrassed, where you didn't answer the question right, and all the other kids are laughing at you. So for me, I wanted to get better at my public speaking. I shared that with my first networking event where I couldn't even talk to anyone, even though I had my intention of showing up authentically as me and wanting to connect with people around me. I couldn't even do that. I was so scared because I didn't want to be embarrassed. And that is a skill where I've had to show up and continue to work on. And by celebrating my effort, no matter how small the effort is, if that was being able to do one more take for a video, even though I had done 30 takes, that was a moment to celebrate because I got it done. So it could be for you, you don't want to be embarrassed. And there's most likely someone, if that's mom or dad or brother or sister or Fred, Jeremy, Sophia, someone's coming up in your mind of who you don't want to be embarrassed in front of. And I will tell you, their opinions of you is not worth it for that to be the driver in your life. Take that out of the driver's seat and realize that you have control as to how you're going to move forward in your life. You have that ability. And it doesn't matter what Jeremy says, what Sophia says, mom, dad, doesn't matter. You got this. Like, yes, it's going to sting a little bit. Yeah, it's going to suck. We want to honor the feelings that are going to come up, but we don't have to stay stuck. That's the most important thing. Another reason could be disappointed. We don't want to be disappointed. I think about that in life. Like, I don't want to be disappointed. If I put in a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of effort, I don't want to be disappointed. But what I will tell you is that the growth that you learn from the quote failures in life help you to continue to develop as a human being and to be able to move forward. And it actually becomes these amazing stories to look back on of you continued even though you got disappointed. You kept going towards that vision, towards the dreams you had, towards improving your life, towards being able to get into a relationship, even though you've had past failed relationships, or ask that person out, even though in the past you've been disappointed with getting rejected. To just keep showing up is a win and is powerful. So that could be the problem right now is you have this fear of disappointment. And that could be disappointment in others, especially if you're wanting to ask someone out and you're going to be disappointed if they say no. Or it could be after going after a project or starting the business or getting that new job. You might be disappointed that it's actually not what you wanted. But what's beautiful is you now get to cross that off your list of like, this is not something for me. Let me move on. The other one could be afraid of what happens if you do it. Does that come up for you? Where you're afraid of, if this actually does work out, what happens? What are all the potential scenarios? If I actually do this, what is going to be the response of the people closest to me in my life? That could be actually putting yourself out there and starting to post videos about your journey or let's say a skill that you want to share with other people. Or it could be asking for a promotion at work or going for that business project, or sending the email to someone you want to meet and you admire their work and you want to let them know and you want to make sure the email doesn't sound too creepy or too weird. You want to just express how much you care and you want to meet and you want to connect and meet. But what happens is with all of those problems, or with all of those reasons for the problem of feeling stuck, is that we stay stuck. So then we won't know. And that's how it connects to burnout. Is the connection is where we have all this the anxiety bubble comes up, and then all of a sudden we get the chatter start going, where we have all these potential scenarios that could happen in the future. Oh, this person could tell me, like, let's say you're asking someone out, they could be like, oh, well, Some of the scenarios could be they tell me to fuck off. Like, simple as that. They could tell me that you're ugly. They could tell me that, why are you wasting my time by asking me out? Like, they could actually be excited to then say yes and want to go on a date with me. They could be super pumped that you even thought of them. Like, there are so many different scenarios that could create positive feelings, negative feelings, whatever way you want to look at it for your feelings. It can cause different reactions within your body. But the thing is, those could be hundreds of scenarios. And with that, it can create then a bubbling, the anxiety bubble to come up. And what happens is, if there's no way to close that loop that has opened up for anxiety, all of a sudden it stays stuck within the body. And then that piles on every day that you're staying stuck. And you're thinking of the what if scenarios that could be bubbling up and popping up. So it never gets closed out. And what happens is, that's then going to lead you to the first red flag of burnout, which is the chronic exhaustion. And we don't want that, because then from there, it's going to hit the domino effect of hitting those other two red flags of negativity at your work, in your personal life, at the world, and then terrible performance in your work. And then you've hit the burnout, which for burnout, what that is when it comes to work, could be having to get fired from your job, having to quit, close down the business, sell the business, because you are so exhausted. And so you feel such negativity. And it's gotten to a point where the body has said no. Like, it's hard to get out of bed. And that can result. That's a place where I don't want you to be. I know what that is like for burnout. I don't want you there. It's not like, for me, looking back at the suffering, there's so much unnecessary suffering that happened at that point in my life. And it's something I don't want for you. So when you can catch yourself on those red flags, that's important. But if we stay stuck, then it's going to become a cycle over time that's going to lead you to a one-way ticket to burnout. So how we can get unstuck, we got to address first the why. Why do you want to change? Before we get into this celebration activity. So you got to ask yourself, why is it that you want to change? Well, it could be because you feel out of shape and you want to get back into shape. I know that from my 2021 fitness journey. It could be questioning, is this really going to be the next 20 years of my life? Am I going to be like this? That could be a moment of, shit, I don't want this. I got to make a change. It could be you're tired of putting up with shit that goes against your values. That could be those conversations that are really important for you to have with other people in your life. I've told that story before of someone I've known my entire life, having to tell them I do not like their behavior, certain behaviors that they have. I just don't agree with it. It doesn't agree with my values. And having to do that. Yes, it didn't. It was an intense conversation, but it gave me a sense of peace of, hell yeah, I'm stepping into it. Now, what else can I communicate out to the world? So that could be a change for you of wanting to do that. Or you might want to feel excited about life and grow into the next version of yourself. So whatever it is, it's making sure we have that why. And now we bring the play into it, that simple activity of celebrating the effort. Celebrating the effort does not have to be this big thing where you are celebrating these big moments. If that's a promotion, starting the business, if that is getting the award, it's not that. Yes, those could be moments to celebrate, but it's the small effort that you do day in and day out. It's these wins that you can stack up in your day. That's where it goes back to, you win your day by celebrating these wins. And it creates a momentum cycle. So for example, some of these wins could be, you said you were going to get outside for a few minutes in the morning before you start work or before you go off to work, to the office. You just have that few minutes for you. When you do that, you can then celebrate. And I'll break it down for what that could look like for a celebration in a little bit. But something like that, 5 minutes, you've celebrated that effort. Maybe it was a commitment you made to yourself that you were going to make your bed this morning before getting started and actually have a clean room to come back to at the end of the workday, so that you can feel, well, I'm trying to think, when that happens, it's basically something where you wanted a clean room to come back to at the end of the day. And you did it. You made your bed. You made it. And then you're able to celebrate. It could be, I'm going to actually get the water in that I need to get in to stay hydrated. You may be struggling with that, of keeping hydration. So every time you're able to get through the water that you're supposed to drink for the day, you celebrate that. Or it's making sure you get your veggies each meal. I have this thing for a daily habit where I wrote down 2 different veggies for lunch and dinner. That helped me to have more veggies in my meals, and then help me with my health. Celebrating that. Got my 2 veggies. Awesome. I know that this seems actually a little childish. Like, I know that could come up for a feeling of like, oh my gosh, that's kind of like childish is like a word that could come up for you. It might be a little too simple. It might be like, oh, that's just that makes me look like well, I'm trying to think of the thought that could come up. There's one that could come up where you could feel almost like people are going to laugh at you if they actually see what you're celebrating. But this is the funny thing. That is where the work happens. It's in those small day-to-day moments. That is how amazing things happen in your life. These big visions and dreams, that's how those get accomplished. Those people that have accomplished those, this is a part of it, of honoring that it's day-to-day small actions that you make over time. I mean, that is the secret that is like in plain sight, that people can kind of get intellectually, but actually not a lot of people do. But we're all capable of being able to do this. It is those things that you would look like that you could come up and be like, oh, people are going to think like, this is embarrassing. But that is what it takes, are these small moments of celebrating it. Because what it does for the body is it reminds the body, going back to what Tony Robbins talks about, it reminds the body of this, I want more of this stuff. If I'm having this positive surge of energy, of excitement and celebration, that then tells the body, because the body doesn't understand, oh, I went outside for a walk. That was one of my daily habits. It doesn't remember, oh, making the bed was a commitment I made to myself because I want a clean room to come back to. It doesn't get the reasoning, but it just gets that by you celebrating, this is something you want more of, which is awesome and powerful for the momentum that can then create for these bigger things that you want to get done. So when you start to celebrate in one area of life, what's really cool, it's like a highway. It then transfers over to other areas of life. So let's say you're struggling, that feeling of stuck is in your work and the specifically contacting new potential clients, right? You struggle at that. Well, if you can start celebrating some wins in your health and fitness and create some momentum there, you can then transfer that over. It doesn't have to be weeks, so you have to wait for this. It could be literally a day or two. You could transfer that energy of momentum and confidence that you feel into then taking action in sending out the email that you know you got to send out. And so you can stack it in that way. I think back to back to that highway. You can think about it as that highway where you're transferring the energy over. And with these small celebrations, how you can do that, I want to break it down for you. So what you could do, for me, I do it where I've talked about it before, where I put my arms in a cross in front of my chest. I tap my shoulders twice. I raise my arms up over my head and I do a "huh" sound. It's like a "brah" moment. I will tell you, for me, first doing that, it felt awkward as hell. I would look around and be like, did anyone just see that? Because you think about it like I think of the NFL with football, where they've scored the touchdown and all of a sudden you just see the raw, like that just intensity of energy. And it had always been something I had wanted to be able to do, but I was so scared to do it because I didn't want to make other people scared of me, because it's intense. It's like a primal, like you were screaming with excitement, but other people would be like, whoa, like this is not normal. So you could get that reaction from people. And I didn't want that. I didn't want people to like be scared of me or like, so I would always stay stuck. I wouldn't celebrate. And that is why for many years I felt miserable. And then that's why I hit my burnout. Was like there was no, like it was one of the reasons, let's put it that way, for hitting my burnout, was because I didn't have this moment of being able to celebrate these wins and realize this is what I want more of in my life. So that's how I do it for the celebration. You could do it in your own way, where you could have this little, you could either journal something out of the win in that moment, of just writing down a check. It could be like a physical writing. It could be I recommend something with the body to make sure the body remembers. So just a small action that you take with your body could be really helpful. And you could do, I got the, so Tony Robbins, that was really helpful for me, where he goes into like your power pose, or you have this power move. He talks about it. It can connect with like something that you can remember is how you celebrate. So again, that could be raising your hand and doing a quick dance, the hands over your head. That could be shaking it out a little bit with the body. Something small, easy, memorable to remember for your body, that this is something you want more of. Now with the celebration, what happens is that when you start stacking these up, you're going to be able to look back on your day and realize that you won the day. What I mean by that is it focuses your attention towards wins. It's so easy at times for us to want to pick out the negatives of like what didn't work out in the day, what were the problems and the challenges like that we didn't accomplish. But what happens is by starting to train the body and connect the body to these moments of celebration and wins, they can stack up. There are hundreds of opportunities in the day to win, to celebrate. And when those small wins add up, by the end of the day, you start to notice the pendulum of moving more towards winning the day rather than feeling like you're losing the day. And what I can tell you is each day that you've won is such a gift for the momentum to keep moving forward towards your vision and who do you want to become. Because you're going to get so much coming at you for those challenges. You've already experienced that challenges, other people's opinions, people telling you to, slow down, or to you shouldn't be doing that because that's not who you are, or there's no way you could accomplish that. Like all of this can come in. Like we don't need to add on to that. So by celebrating and stacking up these wins, that can help you to overall win your day. So to recap it for you, remember that you can, when it comes to the celebrating the effort and the wins, you can focus on activities that you're going to be proud of. Ones that where you feel a little scary to do, but you're going to push a little bit. And that could be a moment to celebrate. You could also celebrate after finishing a work task. That's another really awesome moment to celebrate. Also, just doing these small little activities and commitments that you had made to yourself of you're going to get outside for a few minutes. You're going to make your bed. Another moments to celebrate. Remembering to celebrate the effort is so important, because from there, what opens up is doorways to possibilities. You're then moving through life down this highway. You feel like a high-speed car moving towards the vision that you have for life. And when that happens, all of a sudden it's like holding on to the wheel and just being like, I'm enjoying the ride. I'm here for it. And that's where I want you to continue to put your energy and your focus, so that you continue to move towards making burnout extinct. And when you hit it, it's being able to make that your home. And whenever you're moving back towards burnout and hitting those red flags, you can recognize those. And this play can help you to bring you back. You got this. Celebrate the small wins and take that small action. If you like this episode, please don't forget to rate this podcast and help get this message out of Make Burnout Extinct. And you can share what resonates with you from this episode by connecting with me on Instagram or LinkedIn. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. I don't take that for granted. Excited to reconnect again soon.